For the rocket design challenge, I experimented with different types of sodas and Mentos, and my hypothesis was if I change the type of soda, then it won't spend as much time in the air. For my experiment, I had to play around with it because it didn't work at first. And what I realized was working was unscrewing the top on a plastic bottle rather than glass and shaking it up once the Mentos was inside and throwing it at the ground as hard as I could with the cap on, and that was what propelled it and made it into a rocket. In my experiment, Coke was my control because that's the most commonly used with Mentos. I also did it with root beer, Diet Dr. Pepper, and Diet Coke to see which one would launch and stay in the air the longest. What my data showed me was that Coke actually didn't launch the longest and stay in the air the longest. Diet Dr. Pepper actually was first with the longest time in the air, then it was Coke, then it was root beer, and then finally Diet Coke. My resources for this ended up being I bought about 2 or 3 Mentos just to make sure I had enough and for some misfires, and then I also bought 6 packs of Coca-Cola, root beer, Diet Dr. Pepper, and Diet Coke. Newton's first law is commonly explained as an object at rest will stay at rest unless an outside force is acted upon it, and this was proven in my first trial of my experiment because I would just set it down thinking that the soda would launch on its own, and it didn't. So what I had to do was to force it to launch and slam it on the ground, causing it to move. Newton's second law states that acceleration is dependent on 2 variables, which is force and the mass, and I made sure that all of my sodas were all the same weight and same fluid ounces, and the force could be a variable that is immeasurable. I tried to throw them down at the same amount of force, but obviously that can't be measured. And Newton's third law explains that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and this was shown with my action being throwing the bottle at the ground cap first, and the reaction was the bottle flying into the air for an amount of time.